Hello, everyone. Christopher Jayawardena of Night After Night podcast here. The following episode contains discussion of sexual assault and other possibly triggering content. We want it to inform our listeners so that they can use their own discretion whether to listen to this episode or not. Your safety is very important to us, and we do not want to hurt any of our listeners out there. Thank you for listening, and now the podcast shall begin.
Give us any chance, we'll take it. Read us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true.
Welcome to Night After Night, a podcast about 8 seasons in a row. I'm Mr. Fernandes, and...
Do we have to do this episode, honey?
Tragically, yes. We already did Bully Show, we might as well just do this one.
Oh, God. Okay. Hi, Chris Jayawardena. Welcome to Night After Night.
Beat bop. We're about to review Road to Burbank, directed by Frank Alessia, written by Jeff Franklin. Chris has some facts about some of these folks, I think somewhere in his back pocket at some point. But first we're going to tell you what this episode is about, and you may wish you didn't know what this episode is about until you hear me talk about it. Shirley, Carmine, Rhonda, Sunny, Lenny, waitress and legal assistant Rosita, Squiggy, Frank, and Edna have gathered for an after-hours party to celebrate Cowboy Bill's first 50 days in business, sans Laverne, who's home with a cold. The celebration is interrupted by one Chuck Malone, representative of the Royal Cactus Motel in Nevada, who accuses Lenny and Laverne Kozlowski and Andrew and Shirley Squigman of damaging one of their rooms and demands financial restitution in the form of $158 within a week's time. After Lenny explains that they pretended to be two married couples to get a single room for a night, and Shirley insists that nothing happened between the four of them, the boys and girls argue over who truly damaged the room. The girls insisting the boys tried to assault them, and they damaged the room defending themselves, while the boys insist the girls got violent while trying to seduce them. Who will have to pay in the end? What did you think of this episode?
Okay, anybody who ever says that The Last Jedi is Rashomon done poorly, I'm going to take this episode, print it out, roll it up like a newspaper, and bap those people in the head and say, no, wrong. This Road to Burbank is Rashomon done wrong. Yeah,
it's terrible. My first note here literally is, I hate this episode. That's my first note.
That's my last note. My last note is fuck this episode in bold at the halfway point, and then I stopped taking notes. And I didn't watch this episode a second time so I could do notes for the podcast. I know that's unprofessional, and I don't care. I'm tired of this date rape, they had it coming, though they were just desperate bullshit. Jeff Franklin, you should be goddamn ashamed of yourself for this episode. The hell's wrong with you, man?
The problem with this episode, the big central problem with this episode is, while we've seen the boys mash the girls before, while we've seen the boys try to, quote-unquote, get something off the girls before, the girls have always been able to kick their butts.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been able to fight back and fight back successfully. Here they genuinely look afraid.
Yeah.
That's a big issue. The big issue is that it literally looks like they're about to be raped.
Yeah.
And that's bad. That's not funny.
Mm-hmm.
The audience at the time thought it was hilarious because it was like the early 80s and, people are people.
Yeah.
That's not to say, tragically, there are some funny moments in here. There's some funny lines. There's people looking good. There's even little bits of ship bait. But God, for an episode where Laverne and Lenny kiss lots, this is not something I enjoy to rewatch.
Yeah, and it's like, I love Rosita. Becky Gonzalez is fantastic, and I feel it's like and she is fantastic in the episode, not just because she's there and she's got a great delivery, but also Rosita gets to be a character. She gets to be, actually trying to get a deposition out of each of the parties here.
Yeah,
and it's like those elements are definitely fine. Those parts are good. The opening scene is fine, but it's like, because basically, okay, so for folks at home, we do these notes as we go through the episode. And so I watch the episode and I'm like, okay, I'm going to just quickly read off my notes I have. Opening B-roll, first 50 days in business, smiley face. Seeing a telegram from Carmine. Oof, that's poorly written. Hey, had some Bardwells in the home on the range pattern. Betty's so cute in all caps. And then Shirley being all about the stories, telling the tale, weaving the dream. Then it turns into Rashomon. This is cute, but I can see where this is going to go wrong. But there's a Jeffrey sighting, his broken tail, poor thing, all caps. The girls put up the wall of Jericho, and it gets rapey, all bold font, fuck this episode, and that's it.
That's all you took down. I have more. I have a lot more.
Yeah, and so... Because I don't like it in both versions of this case. Because I feel like, the concept, I'm as someone who likes these types of romantic stories of, the, oh no, there's just one bed, or oh no, we have to pretend to be a couple. I mean, Lisa, you and I both know that Spaced is one of the greatest single camera sitcoms of all time. So,
yes, it's a very good sitcom.
So clearly, we love this sort of stuff, but it's like I remember the comfort that you tried to give me about this when we watched it, because I was pretty upset by it.
Yeah.
Was your suspicion is both parties are lying and are exaggerating. Yeah. And
that's the only way. Go ahead.
Well, exactly. But I mean, I think you're going to say exactly what I say. It's the only way to get through it. And it makes more sense, but it doesn't. Yeah. But because the episode doesn't actually do that, makes it gross.
Yes. Yeah. The only way to get through this is to say everybody is lying. They're both lying in equal amounts. The truth is somewhere in the middle. That is what I tend to think whenever I watch this episode, because Laverne is very much not upset about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
She's sitting there on the stairs, kind of having a fun moment. She almost seems like sanguine about this whole situation, unlike Shirley. Which leads me to believe that something in the middle happened, and then the very next episode, the boys go, we thought we was their favorites, and after this happened, that's impossible to think, so it's going to be something in the middle.
Exactly. And, there are going to be tons of folks that will try to say about, people that are older than us from different times. They're going to say things of the nature of, oh, it was a different time. It was this, it was that, it's complicated. You don't know the way it was. And it's and that a lot of what that is the internalization of rape culture. And then it's also, I think, being blind to the severity of the way this episode executes the idea. Because as you said, there is actually a sense of real danger that they're not going to be able to fight them off, and and that basically they're all sort of sex drunk and completely strung out. Like this would be something that if the boys succeeded, I mean, this would be horrible. Yeah. And
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say there's no, I think, way to right around this and say, oh, it was just them fooling around. It's like, no, this is an act of violence, period.
It's a huge violation of this friendship that the boys and the girls have built. And they've built a strong bond 6 seasons in, an incredibly strong bond between these 4 people. Consider the emotional intimacy that Laverne and Lenny have. Consider even Shirley and Squiggy have that kind of emotional intimacy, though not quite as close as Laverne and Lenny at this point, to be real. And even Laverne with Squiggy. All of this is a huge violation of the boys' character development. It's a huge violation of the boys' growth. It's a huge violation of what has been built over the seasons when we started the ground floor of them saying, oh, these boys aren't our friends. We just knew them all the way through school when we were kids. And now they're just still hanging around the neighborhood and we got to keep dealing with them. To, this is my confidant. This is the person I turn to help save me when I'm in danger. This person will threaten an outside force for me. This person will even marry me on the threat of something terrible happening to my body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's also an insult to the boys to suggest that they absolutely can't control themselves sexually.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Come on. Because let's also be real. These guys have to be chronic masturbators. Like. Like, listen, this is going to be an explicit episode. These dudes are firing dust, okay?
Wait, that's literally true, Squiggy. His blankets are very dusty. That was just canon. This is Dusty. I know he was here recently.
Oh, my God. That is a great use of the pun.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But
it's true canon.
Well, I know that's canon, but I don't think that they meant cum dust. Come on.
Well, we already have hard sheets, like canonical hard sheets.
I was gonna say the hard sheets make sense. The dusty sheets is fine. You know, that's innocuous. That just means that he's he's a dusty boy. He can't help that he sheds his skin and it turns into dust very, very quickly. It's why he can't shower. He has to maintain his level of grease. Otherwise, you know, everything goes horribly sideways.
Gonna wear him down to a nub. We already have canonical hard sheets and hard towels at this point.
Yeah,
totally. It's too late. The horse already left the barn seasons ago when it comes to jerking off.
Yep.
So it's too late. It's too late. So we're not even going to bother to pretend that they don't. Plus, Lenny has witnesses.
Oh, true.
Take this, you all.
God, oh no. Does he think that Vodio Dodo means that he just has ejaculation with another person in the room?
Possibly. I can see that. I don't know how to think. He's seen enough dirty pictures thanks to Fonzie, and he's been to enough smokers and all that stuff. He knows what sex is at this point.
Yeah. There's a reasonable idea of it. Yeah.
But yeah, to bring it on back in, yeah, there's no way that they're that sexually frustrated. Also, they've only been on the road for like, what, a week at this point? 2 weeks?
Yeah. Roughly, yeah.
The boys have gone without sex for way longer than that. They've been close to their girls for a longer period of time than that. You know? They were literally on that trip to Moose Jaw.
Oh, yeah.
That took multiple days and all that stuff. It's not like they can, you know, I can't resist to their impulses. It's just like, ugh.
Yep. It's gross.
Hate
it's
it, hate it, hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. Yeah.
Anyway, so that covers kind of our first impressions of the episode. I'd like to get the behind and in front of the camera notes done out of the way, then we can start talking other things. God, this is going to be kind of a... I feel like this is going to end up being very formless just because it just... It's enraging and as well as very, like, exhausting. Like, I feel tired. I feel tired. I guess I guess what it is, we'll get to this, but I'm tired of this shit in the show. I'm just tired of it.
Many of us are.
Because I get my point being is that after season 5 and how really good season 5 was, this feels like a horrendous step back.
Yeah. It gets better. It does get better.
Yeah. So Jeff Franklin, I'm done talking about the guy's like full career, but we did mention, and like that is my note. I'm not surprised. I'm done talking about this guy. We're done. We're good. Fuck it. Whatever. But you're right. He did write the boys very well in other episodes, including Murder on the Moose Jaw Express Part 2, Duke of Squigman, Not Quite New York, and You Push Me Too Far. So
those are all good episodes.
Those are all really solid episodes with the boys. So it's very surprising. But yeah, I mean, it's weird. Sometimes I think this really shows Jeff's proclivities as a writer, because when you look at, he also did like You Ought to Be in Pictures, but seriously, folks, you know, like those Welcome to Burbank, which has, you know, the Rhonda and stuff like that. There's a very horny element to his writing that's very compulsory. It reminds me a bit of oh God, not to name check another person with dubious allegations against them is one Harold Knowles. Anyway, it's whatever. Anyway, director though, Frank Alizia. Frank Alizia was another of the writing staff who dipped his toes into TV directing, possibly out of necessity in this case. He also directed Separate Tables last season and has one more to go for the show as director. He was already an executive consultant, which we suspect is code for, you know, he's in the writer's room by this time. And we continue for the rest of season 6. And we'll actually get to see him on camera later in season 8 as Marty. I think it's like it's like a pervy director thing. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Actor notes. I already covered Becky Gonzalez earlier in Grand Opening. Total waste of opportunity using her here in some respects. I feel like she actually gets the most cool stuff to do in this episode, in my opinion.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and we'll get into Penny and Cindy having fun and the lingerie and stuff later.
Yes.
But I want to mention the other person who shows up, Chuck Malone, the guy, the person who drops in to kind of spoil the good day. So Larry Gelman played Chuck Malone. He was another Mr. Sitcom with history all the way back to the Monkees and I Dream of Jeannie. He played Sigmund Freud on I Dream of Jeannie. But this dude was everywhere. His first big Gary Marshall connection is actually in 12 episodes of The Odd Couple as Vinny. He also has lots of credits through the 70s, including Bob Newhart, Maude, Free Country, 8 is Enough. His work slows down in the 80s after this, but he gets a lot more variety with an Amazing Stories episode, a part in the movie Dreamscape, Days of Our Lives, Tales from the Dark Side, and even the Super Mario Super Show.
Oh, wow.
He sadly passed away in June of 2021 at the age of 90, but dang, man, his last performance on camera was in 2018, so he had a run.
Wow. Oh, and that's a good run.
Yeah.
That's a darn good run. Good for him.
So anyway, that covers our in front of and behind the camera notes for today. So pros, cons, hello gags. Let's just All right, let's sharpen those knives. I think it's time to cut this fucker open.
I will say Frank and Edna have been in business for 50 days. We have no idea how long the girls waited in Milwaukee before they moved. So how much time have we lost here since they opened the restaurant, since grand opening?
I'm going to say, I feel like I'm going to say about a month.
A month to 2 months. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the grand opening of the girls were there. No, actually, wait. No, the girls were there for the grand opening of the restaurant. Duh, grand opening. Duh.
Yeah.
So that means we skipped about 2 months time between grand opening and dating game, and other woman. So either all of those things have taken place over the span of 2 months time, or we've skipped along ahead of time, to facilitate things. We're gonna have a big old time skip later on when we celebrate Frank and Edna's 5th anniversary. Later in the season, so that shows you how much time we managed to lose in the time skip. Between 5 and 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We somehow lost about 4 years somewhere between the time skip.
That's linear flow of time. Well, okay, we're still in the pandemic. The flow of time is just, it's weird. It's like a river that just keeps changing shape, and therefore the speed increases and decreases arbitrarily.
Laverne Shirley, we have summer next to winter. Seasons don't matter. Time doesn't matter. Time flows backwards. Time flows backwards.
Oh, so it's like that planet in Gamma versus Giron where they're able to move things backward. Or it's Invasion of the Neptune Men, where lunch won't be till yesterday.
Yeah. Possibly. Hey. At this point, yeah. The boys will actually like that. They don't deserve nice things in this episode, though. I liked Carmine's jingle. I thought that was okay. I love the image of them all gathering up to have a nice little dinner for Frank and Edna. Sonny's trying really hard to be a good prospective son-in-law here. The presents are very cute. I love that they had a barbed wire ribbon. There's not even fake barbed wire. So it's like Barbed Wire wants to go out of business between the boozy candy and the freaking real barbed wire ribbons.
There's very I don't know, man. There are questionable decisions. I guess that's the thing though, is that sitcom logic will always have questionable decisions. And one of the things about Laverne and Shirley as well is that it closely teeters towards Abram Zucker levels of Bizarro.
Yeah. Sometimes you will get that, and sometimes you will get absolutely real character-driven humor.
Right.
It will honestly always depend on which episode and where we're taking things for the day. Because we'll get, let's say, the pizza bowl plots, as Michael called them, or we will get, real down-to-earth stuff where Laverne has to deal with her mom's death, or she has to deal with heartbreak, or she has to deal with her brother being an alcoholic. Depends on the week. This depends on the week.
Yep.
As everybody's talking, I'm staring at the menu behind Shirley and the boys, and the specials at Cowboy Bill continue to enchant me. The Rattle Shake.
Yes, I love that one.
Do you have a favorite yet?
I haven't had a chance to really like examine it because I've just been so busy as we've been recording, because as we're going through these episodes now in June of 2022, the pods we've been editing have been extremely long, and I've been busy with a whole bunch of other stuff, so I haven't had a chance to like screen cap and then start but now I've actually ripped a bunch of the episodes, so I should totally screen cap that and take a look, and then I'll be able to answer. So fingers crossed I will be able to answer that in another episode or two.
Mine is Pony Espresso.
I do love that.
I love that pun. That's a great pun.
Yeah.
Kudos to whoever on the rain team came up with that pun. Or stat. It might be stat. It might be just,
Oh, yeah. It could be props. It could have been props department. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah, it could be props.
But I also love the, what is it, the peyote pie and the coyote sody.
Yeah. Coyote sody's a fave, too.
Why are we talking about the nice things in one of the worst episodes this show has ever had?
Because nice things. The trouble with this episode is there are funny one-liners.
Yeah.
People look great. There are memorable lines, and there's some cute things going on among the horrible rapey plot. Because my next line on my notes is, this premise here is so awful, stupid, and hateful. Mm-hmm. That's my next line, and it is.
It's sort of like This movie is sort of like, what if you gave sleazy porno writer version of Ed Wood Jr. a crack at at writing a script, of writing a remake of It Happened One Night.
Yeah, for a sitcom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like Rhonda's, Shirley, congratulations. You did very well. She continues to think Shirley and Squiggy should be together.
Yeah.
Which I think that's a consistent thing with her. And the two of them absolutely could not stand each other or want to be together that way.
I wonder... okay, this thought just blipped in my brain, and maybe I'm off base with this, but what if Rhonda looks at Shirley and is projecting onto her almost the same way that Vivian was in Squiggy in Love, and is like, oh, see, if you take advantage of him, you can get anything you want out of him.
Possibly. It's possible. She will manipulate the boys later in canon and have fun doing it. So that's a possible thought going on in her brain meats. We're talking about Rosita. I'm bitter that we don't get many more Rosita-centric moments here. I feel like they were trying to build her up into a character, and then she doesn't get to be a character later in the show, so... yeah, it's another bit of stink.
Yeah, it's. I'm bummed by it for multiple reasons. Part of it is just Becky is so much fun in the part, and she's very capable. I love that the idea, especially because one of the sad things about them going to California is it kind of gave permission to the writers for racist stereotypes. And what I love about Becky Gonzalez as Rosita is she subverts those expectations and comes off as super capable and sort of like, they're just people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people is people.
She's ambitious. She's allowed to be more than the waitress.
Exactly.
She's going to law school. She's got plans. She's not gonna be working for Frank forever. So she's gonna do her thing.
Yeah.
I really like her. So it's unfortunate we don't get to see more of her.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much this is the last time she's credited on the show, and I'm willing to bet she just, gets like a walk-on probably from here on out, and maybe like a scene, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's unfortunate. She's great. We got a lot of little tiny great lines here, like Shirley thinking that they can pay off the bill with a bake sale. And Rhonda going, to my career!
That's a great one too. Yeah. Rhonda is surprisingly likable in this episode. And I think it's being the gossip that she is just living for every moment of all the carnage that's about to happen. And I think that's why she's even spending time with them, is because she can tell they're chaotic enough. Something's going to happen. Yeah.
She's here for the juicy gossip. She is the singularity. She's a singularity of everybody who ever attended Pizza Bowl Dinner Theater.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah, Coyote Bill's Dinner Theater is far less interesting so far.
Well, we'll see. We'll get there. You haven't get to the point where Lenny's in the middle of the restaurant screaming and slamming the payphone in the wall. We haven't got there yet.
I mean, did it just not give him back his dime? Wow.
Long story. We'll get there. I don't know why the heck they made this choice to have Laverne be sick.
Yeah.
It kind of adds nothing to the plot. It was in the script. This was an original script idea because in the script they went even deeper into this notion of her having the flu and being sick, and everybody wanting to get this done really quickly so they don't end up getting sick because of her. But that, which only gets like a couple of lines in the finished episode. But yeah, they were holding on to this, and they thought they had been holding on to this plot line since the scripting stage, and that's interesting to me that they wanted this to be a thing, because it almost feels like it was inserted for no reason because they wanted Penny to rest up for some reason. I was wondering if she accidentally hurt herself enough. It was just in the script from the get-go.
I mean, there's many things one can ponder. I mean, there could be behind the scenes stuff. She could have needed some time off. She could have needed time with the kids, and so she asked for a certain episode at a certain part of the season to be written that she wouldn't be as present. It could have even just been in the writer's room that they looked at Laverne as, because this is, we're getting close to the loose Laverne days.
We are.
That it could be that they thought that Laverne would have tried to speak up and actually say what we're thinking, which is that it was somewhere in between, Yeah.
I made out with Lenny and I knocked the TV set over. You and Squiggy were running around trying to kill each other. Something like that,
Yeah. Which would have saved the episode. Completely have saved the episode.
Yeah. Something like that. Or even to make Squiggy less rapey himself, too. Come on.
Yeah. Because the thing is, because we've already established Squiggy is annoying to live with. He's super annoying. He is absolutely a holy terror to be around. I can just see all that chaos taking place because Shirley's just trying to get him to stop doing whatever he's doing. Either he's snoring or he's practicing his clarinet, or he's he's got these weird habits, etc. Yeah, totally.
There's a million ways to do this, and to even move the characters forward or make things more interesting without saying the boys can't help it. They're glands.
Yeah, they're
animal
poor
magnetism.
They're animal magnetism. They're poor Jimmy Johns that are just throbbing with masculinity and pent up power and all that sort of such, and just it's stupid. I mean,
things are throbbing, all right.
Yeah, it's throbbing like my fist. That's going to be smashing right into this fucking episode.
Like that vein in my temple. I was gonna say.
Oh goodness gracious! Oh no, you're getting the bride's vein.
Oh god.
For anyone who doesn't know, this was not actually made super abundantly clear in the Kill Bill film, but in the script that Tarantino wrote, the bride gets a throbbing vein of vengeance, and it's implied that it's kind of around the point where she was shot in the head, and whenever she does those, the Ironside, vengeance flashbacks, is when the vein starts to throb.
Okay, that's interesting, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention this is the first time we see Lenny in that rainbow shirt that you see him wearing in the court meeting scenes. It's kind of like a quasi-Mork cast-off. I swear it looks like something Robin Williams actually wore. So I don't know if it was or if it wasn't, but you'll see that shirt again on his bod. There are cute things before horrible things happen, like Laverne Kozlowski. I guess tonight's the night we consummate our marriage in the biblical sense.
Oh God,
Lenny, I'm not the promised land.
Yeah. I don't.
That would be cute if it didn't. If everything that followed didn't happen.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, and that is the thing. Like, I can't, because I basically pushed a lot of my memory of this episode away, because it's like we did Bully Show. That was already kind of, and because that's the thing, Bully Show I can handle easier because it gets close enough to a Grindhouse movie where she fucking murders him, and it gets close enough to that. And here It's good people doing terrible things at the behest of writers who have no fucking idea what they're doing with this scenario, and they're being completely unsubtle and they're being terrible. And so, like, true, Laverne Kosnowski was super cute. The Shirley Squigman or whatever, which actually would have been funny if he had actually, instead of being proud of his German heritage, but actually been Andrew Feeney. Yeah. And then instead and like Lenny looks at her and goes, "Wait, you have another brother?"
That would have been funny.
Like those sort of things, could have been cute. I mean, I just want to like hit the Control Z on this entire goddamn episode.
Yeah, there's so much that could have been done with it. It's like a waste opportunity because you do have like great moments. And there's nothing like listening to one half of your OTP saying, "Don't fight it."
Yeah.
It's just like, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I would be very curious to hear the actor's perspective on how the assault scene was. Because clearly the boys' version of the story, everybody's having a blast. Yeah. And to be honest, I kind of wish that at least that had gone first.
Yes.
But it's like the very assaulty, rapey one is very like, I don't know, just something about it feels off. It's kind of like when you watch it's again going back to grindhouse and exploitation movies. It's kind of like there's some of those movies you end up finding the rape scenes in them, and you can tell that they're fine. Everyone's having everything's okay. Everything's like the scene's rough, but it's more in the way it's executed. But the actors are okay. And then there's a scene like the rape scene in Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed where nobody, the director, the actors did not want to do it. And it was the producers, the American distributor that said, we need a rape scene. And Peter Cushing actually said when the actor himself calls cut, because he's like, that's enough. You got enough. And nearly slugs the director, because that apparently is what happened on that movie. That's a different story.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, the biggest problem Laverne Shirley has is with rape jokes that aged horribly. And I don't think we're that ripe to begin with. And I think Gary just saw them as part and parcel of, like, a burlesque kind of atmosphere from his comedy club days. When they, quote unquote, weren't quite seen as harmful, quote unquote. I'm using actual air quotes. Like I am William Shatner. And talking like him.
You're talking like William Shatner with air quotes in the air that go up and down like a little puppet.
And bobbing there, annoyingly. Bobbing there, annoyingly.
Because the thing is, you and I have watched classic comedy. I mean, obviously we've seen Benny Hill. We've seen, we've listened to Lenny Bruce stand up. Yeah. Those are people that part of the thing is with the way those jokes often were done, especially by the best of the best. Those were a case of the perv was the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
Laverne and Shirley turns the girls into the butt of the joke, the victims into the butt of the joke.
That's what's unfortunate.
Exactly.
That's what's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't have to say there is a Laverne Shirley date rape Troyoka. Yeah. But there is. There's like 3 episodes where this stuff kind of drives the plot. And, sorry, go ahead.
Is this the last one?
No, there's one more after this in season 8.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Then that's the end of the line, and we have to deal with a whole bunch of Laverne being unwise with her glands in between, which has nothing to do with that. But it feels like the writers are trying to connect it. I am not judging that. She's allowed to be as free as she wants with her body. I wanted to say that heavily. I'm not connecting that with that.
But there's a point when you feel like the consent discussion has been thrown out, and that's not okay.
Yeah, it's not okay. Yeah, it feels half like they're shaming her, or half like they're trying to say X is happening because of Y.
Ugh. Yeah.
The show is kind of trying to set this up like any other double makeout that failed, and only like I said, the girls are threatening to call the police.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is. That's how tough it is.
And this is against the two men that they trusted, they've been on the road with, they have stayed in other motels before by now, they've slept in the same room together by now, and that they trust, and I guess this
same ice cream truck in a smaller space.
Yes,
like
where literally, the girls could wake up and there's boners poking them in the booty. Or in other body parts. No, I'm serious though. But that's the thing. It's a cramped space. We've seen how small that fucking ice cream truck is. It's tiny.
Yeah. I know. There's barely any room for all the stuff that they pulled out of that ice cream truck when they got in California.
Yeah.
It's small space. Itty bitty living space.
What also really bothers me about this episode, so like, Bully Show has the issue of the boys setting Laverne up. But it's a case of where the weight of what they're doing hasn't hit them.
Yeah.
This is where they know exactly what they're doing. And I mean, admittedly, both these situations happen in real life, like often. I mean, I have heard, secondhand from the person it happened to about the sort of setup, and I tried to say no, from people. The second thing, though, or I guess I should say this instance now in Road to Burbank, this happens. And it's about, because, often when it comes to sexual assault, when it comes to this type of interpersonal violence, but especially sexual violence, it comes from people that the victim trusted. And that makes it so much worse. And so, as we were saying, like the double makeout thing, the double makeout by this point in canon is practically a joke. Like, they haven't seriously tried to get anything. And every once in a while, either the girls are probably drunk or they're in the mood, or, or like after something like High Neighbor Book 2, they're kind of like, you know what? They ain't so bad, what was it? Kiss better than the vacuum, Here is a case of, as you're saying, we've already said this before, the trust is completely violated and it should be irreparably damaged. This also reminds me of also one of the problems with prequels. Prequels can break the continuity of things so easily.
Yeah.
And this is a very, very careless episode in that regard and many others.
Yeah. It doesn't take into consideration the way the boys and the girls have treated each other leading up to this, nor the way they will treat each other after this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get episodes like Sing 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 after this. You get episodes like Moving In after this. You get a lot of episodes where the girls and the boys continue to grow closer. And after that happens, it makes no sense. It makes no sense that they've been behaving a certain way towards each other while they were in California before this happened as well.
Mm-hmm.
This episode happened, so this episode aired. It's just it's messy. It doesn't take Shirley's being that upset seriously at all. It's just not a thoughtful or thoughtfully plotted episode at all. Now moving to the boys' fantasy, I think.
Yeah.
Goodness worth a second cup. Which is actually funny. I feel like the boys' fantasy is better written because it's funnier.
And what's interesting about it is that it's cute. Like, it's still there's obviously they're lying, but they're making up this fantasy that is still kind of, it's sexual assaulty, very boundary pushing in its own way, but it's done in a way that's very cute and very I wouldn't say sexy, but it's fun. It's very much like a Penthouse, I never thought it would happen to me sort of story.
I mean, the girls are both clearly dressed the way the boys have fantasized about them dressing before.
Certainly.
In their heads. You can tell. Lenny has good taste.
Yes.
Penny looks fabulous in this scene.
I mean, she's been looking gorgeous this entire season, and she is just eating up the scenery throughout. But this one in particular, I definitely agree there.
Yeah, on a shallow note, that she looks incredible. My note is Penny and Cindy's hotness equals wasted.
Yes, and because which again, comes back to the whole point of you and I were just talking about this last night before we recorded this episode. Like, this whole thing could have been so cute if the idea of the reason why, like if this had gone first and they're like, oh, they came on to us and da da da, and the reveal is that Laverne only packed the sexy lingerie, or that was the only suitcase they brought in with them, and it's either too hot or too cold to go back out to the ice cream truck. So that's all that the girls have to wear to go to bed. And the boys are overwhelmed by this, and there's so many ways they could have used this so cutely and sweetly and actually sexily.
Yeah, I can't look at you. I can't look at your chest, so I wouldn't talk to your feet. My, what long toes you have. Something like that.
Exactly.
Something like that. There's a way to do it where it's funny, and that's just like not working.
Because this is, as I said, I think this is the one all four of these actors had way more fun acting out, because it's more, they're getting to play these kind of wild caricature versions of each other.
Yeah, themselves.
Of themselves, exactly, yeah. And to play off of the different strengths and everything. And it also is kind of interesting to see a flip, because it's one of the few scenes we've seen where the girls really have it over the boys on this particular subject.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, a sense of lightness and fun about it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
But it's still gross because the girls are still trying to assault the boys against their will. But the fact that they're these really, really over-the-top characters, extra horny versions of the girls is funny. And you can tell the girls are having fun with this. You can tell the guys are having fun with this. There's a lot of great dialogue that happens here. And God bless Death Valley days. Reagan had just been inaugurated. That's why that's extra funny. He just been inaugurated just before that. So that was a little wink wink. And my foster mother warned me of women like you.
Oh, God.
Laverne declaring her dream is an entire night with Lenny in a dark, sleazy motel room.
Oh, boy.
The dual palm bites.
Yeah, that was cute. That was very cute.
I kiss you in a place where you won't feel, and he kisses her head. All that stuff. I'm saving myself for Walter Brennan.
And you really did. Wow, you really did do the full notes, the usual notes of dialogue and all that, and
the parts that I like.
Okay,
the parts that I liked, I took down.
Yeah, I just
or that I was particularly horrified by. There's a lot of really great stuff that happens here, physical comedy wise. There's a lot of physical comedy going on here that's athletic.
Yeah.
Penny actually picks Michael up and carries him fireman style in an airplane spin.
That was very cute and impressive.
How much strength she had! Wow, that's a lot of strength.
Yeah, that's good core strength and good balance too. Because you gotta as you're moving around.
Well, he's supposed to be dead weight, so I don't know how much of that is. I don't know how much of that was redistributed or how darn strong she was. So the girls get the same result as the boys, and the boys run off to go sleep in the bathroom. And I did like the goodness with a second cup, which is ridiculous. My question is, Edna has been furiously advocative of the girls. Why is she so amused by the story?
I think the only reason why is, again, the headcanon that you're saying about the only way it works is if they're both lying. It's the only reason I can think of is that she figures they're both lying. That they're still such kids.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that makes any sense.
Yeah. I feel like the only person in the room who holds the truth is Laverne, and she told Edna.
And she may have told Edna a while ago. Yeah.
Or she may have told Edna because something happened, and then she wanted Edna to know. And that's why everybody's amused, because, middle ground. That would also explain why Frank and Carmine and Sonny are so outraged. They have not heard about the story before. Meanwhile, Rhonda's just sitting there painting her nails. These idiots going on. She does not deserve to have to pay part of that room fee. I will stand up on her behalf and say that she did not know these yahoos when this happened. She should not have to pay any money into this. If she had volunteered, that would have been different. Maybe I should become a doctor. Why is Rosita being dragged into this? My note. So Carmine and Sonny are in an extremely high dungeon here. Well, actually, Sonny's not. Carmine is. Carmine and Frank are basically ready to murder the boys here. That's interesting in of itself, considering the way Carmine treated Shirley before this.
Yeah.
In season 4.
Mind you, it also is. It's a part of the cis het male problem and struggle that it is always a man's job to massacre and murder any male that does harm to a cishet female, or any female, really. Female or female
Sunny's
identifying.
way more calm, though, and be more reasonable about the subject. He and Laverne are dating at this point.
Well, that's what I mean, though, is that there's it's the hot-blooded, it's, I guess I'm making a generalization, but it's a case of, it's the macho-ness, right? And as someone who, spent most of my teen years feeling that way, that I understand it. And but it's a very, I don't know. I don't have anything else to say because I just don't want to. I don't know. I'm running out of things to say because I just don't want this episode to exist.
That's how many people in the fandom feel, though I do know people who love this episode and think it's funny. So, we get to this ridiculous excuse that the boys couldn't help it. They were so hungry for female companionship that they decided to assault their friends, which what? That would retroactively go to explain why they were out on the beach prowling for women before the earthquake happened and they signed their lease, but it also doesn't explain anything. It's just ugh.
It's just there to be funny. It's just there to be a joke. It's just to be about, haha, men be horny pervs. These guys are horny pervs, blah, 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 and let's make them the butt of this joke, even though really the butt of the joke is the women victims and blah, blah. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that some fucking idiot said that this was a progressive episode, that this was a feminist episode, because at the end they believe that they believe the women at the end. And
that's not even remotely nobody states a belief about anything until the boys feel guilty and crack.
What I hope that somebody has the gall to tell me that this episode has balls, so I can say, great, where are they, so I can kick them.
Oh God. My all caps no is, why are they excusing them of this?
Yeah, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's how I feel. There's no. You compare this to Bully Show, where the show rightly goes, hey, it's wrong of the boys to do this. They're right to feel guilty. It's good that they come and they rescue Laverne, because it's a rotten thing to do to set your friend up to get hurt so you can get something in return selfishly.
Mm-hmm.
Here it's like, men can't help it. Men be raping, ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
And, God. And it's patronizing towards the boys' characters. It's patronizing towards the entire gender.
Mm-hmm.
It's patronizing towards everybody who is a man, identifies as a man, everybody who is a man, saying, well, you can't help it. You gotta stick your fingers in something. Squish, squish.
Fuck. It's funny you say that, because I just watched the Jason Momoa Conan movie, and there's the bit where he sticks his fingers through the dude's chopped off nose, the nose hole.
Squish, squish.
Yeah, squish, squish. Makes a good squish, squish. It makes a bunch of snot come out and everything.
Momoa's Conan. I need to see that.
It was fun. You'll like it.
Did he look good?
Oh, I liked it. It was fine. Stephen Lang was great.
Did he look good? Did Momoa look good?
Oh, Momoa looked very good, because this is 2011 Momoa. Yeah, he's not as roided up, so he's more natural looking.
Yeah. I don't require much for a Conan type of action movie, just that everybody look good and that we get occasional funny moments. That's why Arnold delivered well as Conan. So he could do the snark and also do the violence, and he also looked good in the muscles and the furs and the horns.
All that. And I mean, he technically wears a barbarian sarong the whole movie, which is really cool.
Okay. Enjoyable. I will take every last drop of shirtless Jason Momoa I can get.
See, folks, this is the thing. This is playful banter about sexual objectification, about an actor who clearly has no problem with that, because he makes himself look good and he stars in these movies where he's a sex symbol. That's the thing. Instead of an episode where it's men be raping, and that's just kind of how it goes, and it's our friends are scumbags and just got to be careful around them, and it's stop excusing this motherfucking behavior. I mean, this is God.
It's the girls shouldn't expect high standards from them, and that's ridiculous, because they do expect high standards from them, and the boys can deliver on higher standards.
Absolutely, they have multiple times, even recently.
Yeah, exactly. as I know in my notes, this is so infantilizing compared to Bully Show. And when you're infantilizing compared to Bully Show, that's
You done
something.
fucked up. You done fucked up.
Yep.
You done really fucked up if you're infantilizing compared to the Bully Show. Because, I mean, the Bully Show, they don't even press charges against that motherfucker.
Yeah, which they should.
Which they should. Oh, boy, they should. Because that guy was a danger. Letting him loose on the street, he was just going to go after another person. He was a serial rapist. That's the thing.
Yeah. The thing about that, though, is it's 1950s Milwaukee, and look at how our justice system is now. Now think about what Laverne would have had to go through, even with a cop like Norman on her side. So, like, yeah, you can kind of see why she does it.
See, and this is why I say that Carmine needed to have mob ties, like proper mob ties, because you just get rid of them. You just get rid of them.
Ding dong, ding bong, ding bong. I don't want the boys we've gotten rid of. I just like pretending this episode never happened.
Yeah, no.
Candace pretends it never happened.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, if that's the case, then great. Because that's the thing. This episode shouldn't have happened. I mean, you and I had this conversation last night about this could have been a growth episode. This could have been a sequel to Testing. This could have been a case of like having explained they didn't want to talk about it because they revealed all these intimate things about each other and they had this really personal growth experience. And that's part of and even the boys even saying that was when we decided we were going to stay. Not the girls on the beach. It was you. Like that could have been the punchline that we're now home because you're here. And because Frank is here and Edna's here and Carmine's here, it's like, and that it could have made this, a nice, fun, sappy episode that still had all this wacky, goofy physical comedy and still had the sexy times and the fantasies and all of that.
Yeah.
And all of that. I mean, they could have just had an outright fantasy dream scene that implies that it was a complete orgy. I mean, that would totally be fine. And it would have been.
Someone has a dream that they all did it, and then, they wake up and the motel was trash and it was just Squiggy sleepwalking again.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing is like that could have been that. See, that would have been connective to the prior season, which I mean, for fuck's sake, Duke of Squigman was even written by the same guy. Like that's the weirdest thing. Like, I mean, it almost feels like, the last couple of episodes were especially, not the last couple episodes, but Dating Game at least was super duper queer and gloriously so and beautifully so. And it feels like this was a way for the straight white male bullshit to slap back and say, okay, you had your gay times, your gay old times. Here's it back to business as normal because we're men and men rule the world. Well, I'm sorry, but, I agree with Jarvis Cocker that cunts are still running the world. Fuck this shit. Fuck this fucking episode.
I wanted, before we get to rankings, by the way, I agree. I said this episode is shit, haha. That was my last note. I wanted to note 3 things that were, fun. The sneeze from a woman's cold. That did make me laugh. Rhonda going at least until after dinner about I did like that Edna did give the boys a lecture saying treat women like people. Mm-hmm. They won't be treated like that. You already know that. The trouble is the Aesop in this episode the boys already know. They already know after Bully Show and they already know how to treat the girls like people. Mm-hmm. We have seen them do it multiple times before.
Absolutely.
So that's a big problem that the Aesop is overdone and has been done by the show, and it's something they already learned and they conveniently unlearned it, for the premise of this episode. One last thing we gotta note before we go is Lenny choosing to say, I'm sorry, Laverne, very gently to her, very sweetly, and then he goes to Shirley, sorry, Shirley, and just slaps her on the back like she's a truck driver too. It shows the difference between how he views those two girls. Shirley as a buddy, and Laverne's someone he has to treat delicately and sweetly.
Yeah, because he's projecting
Even
a lot
though
of
he doesn't do that.
He's projecting a lot of his whole mommy issues on her, and so it's like because he still has hero worship of his mom. I mean, that's the thing.
Oh yeah, who beat the crap out of him, but that's also the dichotomy of the way money treats the two girls.
Mm-hmm.
Shirley's a buddy, and sometimes Shirley is mom.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see that later on the season. And Laverne is girl I like, plus buddy, plus someone to be treated like a lady, even though he does it sometimes. But that's very much a microcosm. I always like that one little tiny moment. It's the only moment one of the few moments in this episode I will stand for.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see that. All right. Ranking.
Yeah.
0.
I was gonna say it's a 0 for you. I'm gonna have to go higher with a 2.
Wow.
For the fun. I hate this episode, but it still has funny lines in it. I gotta give them credit for at least trying to throw in an Aesop going, treat women like people, don't be an asshole. I will give them that small credit. There's still funny lines. There's still Penny in lingerie. And Cindy in lingerie looking good. The boys looking funny, looking good, looking hot in their love pajamas.
The love clothes.
Yeah, trust. Some funny Rhonda moments. An excellent performance by Becky Gonzalez as Rosita. So all of those mean I'm not going to put it at a 0. We got 0 episodes ahead of it for me.
Okay.
But this is a low ranker for me. Don't watch this unless you are fully prepared trigger-wise. If somebody wants to be a completionist, I can understand why you would want to watch this episode. If someone wants, even for cheap shipping material, which this episode does provide, for people who ship my ship in the worst possible way.
Yeah, and
for surely Squiggy folks.
For to that end, if you do watch it, just go find the fix-it fic, and if you can't find the one that suits your taste, make your own, because God Almighty doesn't need it.
Make your own kind of music, sing your own kind of song.
Yes.
But all of those things factor in as to why this is the bottom of the barrel for me. Bottom of the barrel is coming. It's the worst episode in season 6. I will say that. It's eminently skippable if you're not interested in any of those little interplays, because it never gets referenced again except in the opening credits of season 8. You pretty much lose nothing by not seeing it, except we get some, also good physical comedy. I also rank it a 2 for the physical comedy. I gotta give them credit for going all out, and all the physicality that happens. The actors work hard for that, so yeah. Bottom of the barrel ain't there. I know my zeros. Bully Show was Bully Show. This is actually slightly better than Bully Show. I can't remember what I ranked Bully Show, but
I mean,
yeah.
Well, how about this? We give the incentive to our listeners to go out there and track down our episode covering the Bully Show, so that they then too can first of all share in the anger, and then secondly they can actually have an answer, and they can in the comments below. Please let us know.
But this is unless you're interested in those certain things, this is pretty much a worthless one. It's 2. It's just a 2. I gotta give the Bill bits of credit where credit is due, but it's not like
okay.
If you miss this one, you don't need it.
May I interject about why I also say just throw the whole thing out? Terminator 2.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of the chip. You got to get rid of the arm, all that stuff, so that Cyberdyne cannot create the Terminators. And I'm sorry, but the T-800, John Connor's buddy, has got to go in that molten steel and got to go. That's my feeling. We have got to prevent the road to Burbank future war and the nuking of all of the cities and Skynet going online. That's what I equate this to. So
the jaunty thumb up for us all.
Yeah, this episode can rot in hell.
Yeah.
In some regards, I do agree that it's a cuter episode. Like, it has more moments of actual cute and funny than Bully Show. Bully Show is just completely unfunny. It is almost offensively unfunny and to some extent even unengaging, because as said, it gets so real that it becomes, because even here, even though it's like, when you think about the reality of it, it's pretty horrifying. You're able, if you can not look at it in that way, which is very difficult for me, but if you can not look at it in that way, this can actually be, rompish or whatever. So, whatever. And if you want to think about that, that's your own business. Don't tell me how to live mine. But you're
not gonna tell me how to live my life, man.
Yeah, man.
It's over.
But it's it is an episode that, yeah, I would throw this out entirely. Like, if I could wipe this from history, I would.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I so about a week before we watched this episode, my dad rented from Netflix for us to watch Moonfall, the new Roland Emmerich movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't make it through the whole movie. It's actually the first time I've walked out midstream in a film in years. Many, many, many years. Because it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
God.
It's offensively bad writing. And and that was the thing. I thought during that, I have never before in my life wanted a time machine to go back and throw a script out a window more than watching this movie. Road to Burbank is absolutely on that level for me. Yeah. That's the thing.
I would like to go in and like surgically pluck out the things that I do like and then turn into something better.
And I totally hear you on that. And I guess what it is I've reached a point of selective canon is very exhausting to me after a while because I've had to do it with so many fandoms that I'm involved in. Yeah. You kind of have to do it with Silent Hill. You got to do it a ton with Resident Evil because Capcom's canon for that is a complete fucking mess at times. Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, like I'm not going to say that there is no elements of this that there were not a single element of this that I enjoyed. There are absolutely pieces that I did. But I think at the end of the day, I would rather burn the whole thing down than save what's there because there's already been enough good stuff through this season so far. Yeah. I'm fine.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it shouldn't have happened, at least it shouldn't have happened the way it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Does that cover everything for today? Can we stop talking about this one now?
Yeah, that's it. I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, cool. The one thing I did want to say, we saw that Jeffrey has a broken tail. The poor thing. I hope he's okay, and I hope he got the surgery he needed in California. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, he went to a doll hospital. That'll be the end of it. He'll be getting his butt repaired at the doll hospital.
Special thanks to Dr. Coddle. Anyway, yeah. So quick word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back. All right. Well, thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us for Night After Night. And if you would like to know more, please join us at Night After Night PC on Twitter or Night After Night Pod on Facebook, Tumblr, Facebook, Patreon, and YouTube. It would be great if you could, throw some shekels our way. And if you can't, just leave us a comment, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, give us a star ranking on Apple iTunes. It's been years, and we still have got that one guy that didn't like us. Anyway, thanks again for joining us, and God, I don't know, Lisa, maybe we were just born too late to understand this piece of shit humor.
Well, the boys were definitely born too late, because next episode, they're going to go through a series of fantasies where they think about what life would have been like in the 20s were they silent movie actors. This is born too late.
Oh, maybe I'll actually enjoy it this time.
Yeah, bye, y'all. And if you ask somebody to help you keep the bed still, make sure you do it consensually.